Okay, this segment of the video is about the shingles. So I downloaded from Etsy, purchased from Etsy a file with different kinds of roofing. Shingles, cedar shingles, regular shingles, tin plates, that kind of thing. It was, I guess it's for making cards or maybe for just doing things just like this. But it had cedar shingles. And so I downloaded that file. I manipulated it all kinds of different ways till I got it the way I wanted it. And what I decided to do was to make my shingles like this. I've already put it on this little piece that's going to go on the roof here, just to test it all out. Made some, threw them away, made some, threw them away till I got it the way I liked it, with the right scale, etc. So how I've done it in Cricut is I have it already cut like this so that it's ready to put in layers on this piece. And I'm going to demonstrate it on the little side pieces because this is small and quick to do. So here are my pieces. Here's the little gable that goes right here on the house. It just sits like that, gets glued down. I reinforce everything so much. I would have reinforced this more here and here if I weren't putting this heavy shingle stuff on here, because this is pretty thick and pretty heavy because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of paper glued to a piece of basil cardstock, which is already thicker than the Encore. So I would have reinforced this, but hopefully because it is going to be thick enough laying on here, it'll take care of these delicate little edges. I don't like little delicate edges. I did reinforce this part. It has 3 layers of this piece inside. Of course, this is the outside piece. And then this is the inside to keep it from getting all this little part bent up. And on this side, I've already put the shingles on. And this is how it turned out. So I'm going to do a little video to myself to show me how I did that. So here's my piece that's going to go on. And it's going to go right here, just like that. And then this piece, I'm going to put the shingles on it and then put that on here. But the shingles going to need a little bit of work first. I've cut them all. I'm going to fold this piece in half because this is going to be the cap over the middle top piece. And I'm going to go ahead and trim it off to just 1 row of shingles on either side of the hump. And I'm going to trim it off like right where the dark shadow is, right there like that. So it'll have that dark edge. And the same thing on this side. Just trim that off. Okay. And then I did a lot of inking, etc. And I, in my pattern, which I did on Cricut, all I did was put my pictures in there. I designed what my shingles pieces were going to look like, sliced them, and print and cut. Now what I did here was, because it's going to be just like Leo did, a long layer, then another layer on top that's a little bit shorter, and another layer on top that's a little bit shorter, and a little bit shorter, just like that. I just did it 2 rows of shingles shorter each time. Singles shorter, that's hard to say. Singles short, shingles shorter each time, 2 rows. So, but I wanted to do some inking, etc. So what I did was I took my, I think this is called Cajun Craze marker. This is a Stampin' Up product, of course. I used to be a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I'm going to do dark on the edges like that with this pen. And if you're going to use a pen, I suggest you do it. I'll move that out of the way. I won't get any ink on it. That you... I forgot what I was going to say. Just going to put ink on all the edges. Oh, if you're going to do it like I'm doing it here, turn it over so that the back is towards you in case your finger slides off. And you do that right there because you don't want to do that on the front. And just do the edges all around. And then I'm going to also do some inking. Okay, that's one side. And the sides are just mirrored of each other. And by doing it this way, I call it kind of cut as you go, because if you see a little arrow, you can go ahead and just trim it. I think one of these pieces has too much of the dark margin, and I'm going to want to trim that off, but we'll go ahead and do this inking part just in case we don't have to trim it. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to take my little scrap piece of paper here, and I've got my Close to Cocoa ink pad, and I have a sponge somewhere here, and I'm just going to use my little sponge, and I'm going to also do like this all around the edges so that if anything pops up, you won't see any white. I don't want to see any white. I'm going to do a little sponging on the front part. Now this one, the only part it's going to show is this down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to lay it down on my paper. And the back right here, where I'm going to leave unstuck down so that it has this little flip up look like a shingle does. In case it does flip up, you won't see white glaring. Okay, there's these two long pieces. The next longest. Okay, and they have a little hole, so if you match up the little hole, it'll be the correct side. And note to self, in the Cricut file, these are the one that says Little Gable. Okay, there's the next one for that side. Do the back of this one. Okay, that's all the pieces for that side. I think this one's the one that has just a little bit too much dark for me. I'm going to just trim off just up a little bit of that. Put some ink back on there. Next layer. I think my cutting went off just a little bit. I do use bleed when I do the print and cut. And these will all print on one. Both gables are print on one sheet. I mean, both sides of the thing. Takes a sheet per gable. That's the thing about having it not a set thing. You can kind of trim as you go if you don't like the way it looks. Okay, and this one I'm going to make sure it's got plenty on the edge, because this is going to be the top piece, and it's going to be seen all the way up. Okay, get rid of that, and do a little wipey of the hands to make sure I don't have any ink on me. And no ink on the table. Okay, now I'm going to take my pieces and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to glue them to this piece, before I put it on here. I'm not going to put it on there and then try to glue each one of these little pieces on. That's not happening. So take these off in order here. So this is the first piece. It's going to be the bottom. It's going to cover the whole side just like that. And let's get a little more ink right there. Don't want to see any white. Now this piece, I'm not going to worry about so much about seeing the back, because I don't know if I will clip the little edges. But on the next layer, the next row, I'm going to clip some layers. So just go all the way down, cover the whole piece. I'm using Barely Art glue, just like that. If you want to use your brayer, which I usually do, but it's not in here, I can use my handy dandy Chick-fil-A credit card though. And when I do print and cut, I coat before I cut it, I use a sponge applicator and I apply that Tim Holtz, I think it's called Distressing Glaze. Now this piece, because it's going to be 2 rows up from this long piece, I'm going to clip these little edges of this first row to make it look like a shingle. So I don't want to put any glue past that row. So that's right about there. So I want to leave that bottom unglued. And just line up the hole at the top, and the sides and everything else should line up perfectly. Just like that, and you see it just lines up. What I did was found one piece of my paper I downloaded, and I got it the way I wanted it with cutting and pasting, because not all the rows looked even to me, and I kind of wanted it to actually look like shingles on a cedar shakes on a house, like all the houses up in Nantucket have. This is more of a little, instead of a forest in the woods kind of house, I'm going a little bit more for the Nantucket look with the color and everything. Okay, just like that. Okay, and one more, and just make sure you don't glue down the bottom edge. Line up the hole. Okay, this is the cap piece, so I'm not going to put that on yet. I'll turn around and do the same thing to this side. Got the long piece first, and you can see they're just a mirror of each other. That's what I did. I just picked what I wanted, finally got a sheet of it the way I like it, and then I just went in and sliced all my pieces. Now the porch was somewhat different. Once I get this glued down, I'm going to take a photo of the porch for my reference for future use also. Make sure my edges are straight. It's one thing about using glue, you have a few minutes to change your mind. I used to use a lot of tape on stuff, and then I decided glue was better because you had time to slide it around and fix your mistakes. And one more. I usually also use my little tweezers. I'm going to have them out here. Been working on this shingle project for several days now. So, okay, should get all on there. I got that one a little off, so I'm just going to trim it because I don't want anything to interfere with the way it fits on this little roof part. I'll cover that up with some where I cut it. I don't want any white showing. Okay, we'll let that be the outside, the inside edge up against the house. Okay, now this piece is going to go on. And got it nice and inked. I want to lay it on the house, just like this, so that I make sure I get the right angle. Glue on both sides and in the crack. Don't want this coming up in any fashion. And I'm just going to take that and lay it just like it would be if it were the piece just going over itself. Okay, get it all lined up. Okay, that looks pretty good. Slide it over just a hair. There we go. And that's right in the right place. It's got some bend. Yep, okay. So now, got that all together. Now I'm going to take my snips, and I'm going to go up here to this first little piece that's lifted, and I'm going to cut the shingles, not all the way up. I'm going to cut them about a little over halfway of that depth of that row. Just like that. And that's all it needs. All it needs is just something that's going to give it a little more of a texture or more of a look of a 3D, kind of like that. You see how it's not really all pulled up, but just flicked. Like Leo used a dowel to make his scallops curl up. Well, that's what this is sort of doing. Okay, and then just flick it a little bit. Okay, so this is going to be the back. This is going to be our front. That looks the best. I'll do a little ink right there because I see a little, it's probably just glue showing through. Okay, that's going to be the front, and it's going to sit on here just like that. So I'll go ahead and glue my white piece on. Every time I touch the white, I try to make sure my hands are clean. Now, I don't put glue here because that's crazy. It's better just to put the glue on the house and lay the thing in it. So I'm going to put a good amount. Okay, lay this on here, and I have a little piece here that is going to kind of interfere with this because I did my house different. I have I don't have the little trapdoor thing on the back. I don't like those. So I have a piece of trim going all the way around the back. So it kind of interferes with this a little bit right here, but it'll be okay. It's just the thickness of a piece of paper. Now, because my house isn't sealed up, I'm going to reach in here and make sure this is touching everywhere inside the little alcove. Plus, I can also stick it up the butt of the house because I haven't sealed up the bottom either. Okay. And you can see how kind of wiggly that thin one layer of paper is. Well, I would normally have that reinforced, but since I'm putting these shingles on there, hopefully that won't matter. And I'm going to hold this for just a little bit, make sure it gets adhered. I don't like to have to go back and, as Leo calls it, paint it with some glue. I don't like to do that. I want it to get stuck down the first time. And I can see, and that's why I use this little precision nozzle, because I can kind of stick it up in there and do it like caulking. Make sure that it's sealed up. We used to laugh about a house I used to live in that we said we swear it was held together with glue and caulking. So every time I went in there when the house was being built, the guy had his caulking gun out, caulking something up, filling in holes. Okay, now this is going to get glued down to here. Same thing again. I'm going to put the glue on the house. And this is a heavy piece because it's several layers. Make sure it's got plenty of glue to hold it down. I notice how I glue one way on one side of something and another way on the other side. I guess that's the different sides of your brain working. Because it's coming from another direction. I don't know. It just seems weird that I do that. Okay, and this is the side we want showing. Put it right there. Lay it over. And I'm going to do just like that. And I'm actually going to pause the video because I'm going to hold this till it dries. Okay, this is the part I made for the porch. I scaled the shingles down so they could have the same number of rows like the house would have, but yet the shingles are just slightly thinner this way, so that I could get more rows in the roof to make it look more realistic. This roof is white. I don't know why it was done that way, but I did it like the instructions. He had it in white. And I guess it's because this soffit needs to be white. But I put 2 pieces of brown here, and I should have just put a piece here too, but I was building it on, I took this piece and cut it out of brown and then just trimmed off the fold lines. And so ended up with what this is. And then put my shingles on it so that all I have to do now is glue this down to the porch. So that's what I'm going to do next. There you have, I've got my glue on there. I hope it's enough, because it's hard to get any under this stuff because the way it's put together. I wanted to make sure there was plenty up though against the house so that these corners stay nice and tight. Let's push that out just a little bit so that it gets all the way up there. Get up there. There we go. Get up there. Get in the corner. And if a little bit of brown is showing, that's why I went back and put the brown on there, so I wouldn't have to worry about white showing through. This is hanging over just a little bit far to suit me, but it's as good as I think it's gonna get. I even enlarged these pieces. Oh gosh, it's not sticking in that corner. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get some glue in there. Come up, you. Okay, let's put a big blob there, so that'll stay down when it's. Okay, now get in there and stay. Okay. And this one seems to be stuck. Okay, I'm going to hold this now for a few minutes till it dries. Okay, these are the supports I'm using for the inside of the house. These are the I think they're 5/8 of an inch. Nope, they're 3/4, excuse me, 3/4 of an inch supports. I have a Cricut file for those that I just make up, and they have a foam core inside to make them really stiff and hard. And they're going inside the house right here in these corners. See in there? There's one there. There's one there. And I just put one. I'm going to have one here. And now I'm going to put one in this corner. And it would be, if you're looking on the outside of the house, it's these corners right here on either side of this thing. That main structure, not the little jut out, the main structure part of the house. And I'm just gluing those in all the way to the bottom and up as far as this is, which is about 5.5 inches. Okay, now it's time to put this big white piece on. I don't know how I'm going to get all that on with glue. I may resort to score pal tape so that it immediately is stuck. My dilemma is I don't like these raw edges unreinforced. I may go back right now before I put it on and reinforce these flanges here. Okay, I reinforced this white lid edges with some cover stock, the heaviest cover stock. It's about 6 mil, I think, or something like that. It's the heaviest of my cover stock that I have. And that's a note to self right there. So I put a reinforcement across here. It's all about 1/2 inch, almost quite 1/2 inch. I will put this in my pattern, so I don't have to do this next time. I just already have them cut and ready. But this piece, little strips here, here, and this one is folded and goes up the side. Same thing here, folded and goes up the side, like that. And I can already tell a difference. It's much sturdier. I used the tacky glue so that it works like another layer of paper. Tacky glue is a little bit thicker than this other glue, and it dries a little bit faster. And I'm not trying to do precision gluing. So those are glued in place, and when that's dry, that's going to be a nice little reinforcement. Could have probably used one that goes inside of here like I did there, but I don't think this will get as much abuse as the sides because the side's bigger. And my lid's all dry there, so as soon as this piece is dry, I'm going to glue it down onto here, and then I'll be putting my brown paper on and doing my shingles.